When you think of the wealthiest people in history, who comes to mind? Tech billionaires, oil tycoons, ancient kings. What if I told you that over 1,400 years ago, a companion of the Prophet Muhammad built a fortune so immense that, adjusted for today, it would dwarf nearly every billionaire on the planet? This is the incredible story of Abdur Rahman ibn Awf, a man who mastered the art of business, earned unimaginable wealth, and still secured his place in paradise. His story isn't just about money. It's a lesson in faith, integrity, and the true meaning of success. So, how did he do it? How did one man become so rich that axes were needed to break apart his gold after he passed away? Let's dive in. Imagine this: the Muslim empire is flourishing under the third caliph, Uthman ibn Affan, but suddenly Uthman falls gravely ill. In that critical moment, with the entire community holding its breath, Uthman makes a declaration. He says, "If I pass away, then Abdur Rahman will be the next leader of the Muslims." This wasn't just a suggestion. It was a testament to Abdur Rahman's wisdom, his influence, and the deep respect he commanded. He was a man trusted to lead the entire Muslim world. But when this news reached him, he didn't celebrate or plan his ascent to power. Instead, he turned to Allah in total humility and made a heartfelt prayer. "O Allah, if this is written for me, then take my soul before Uthman." Think about that level of humility. He chose to meet his Lord rather than take on the burden of leadership, and Allah answered his prayer. Abdur Rahman passed away shortly after, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire millions. And what a legacy it was! When his estate was finally tallied, the numbers were staggering. There was so much gold that it had to be broken into smaller pieces with axes just to be distributed. His caravans of merchandise were so long they stretched beyond the horizon. He owned livestock that filled entire valleys and vast estates of land. Historians have tried to calculate his wealth in modern terms, with estimates ranging from tens of billions to possibly over $1 trillion. To give you some perspective, the richest Roman of that era, Marcus Crassus, had a net worth of around $20 billion in today's money. Abdur Rahman's wealth made Crassus look like a small-time investor. In fact, even today, no Muslim billionaire has come close to the fortune Abdur Rahman accumulated over 14 centuries ago. So where did this legendary figure come from? He was born into the noble Quraysh tribe in Mecca, the very same tribe as the Prophet Muhammad. His father was a successful merchant, dealing in perfumes and leather. But tragedy struck early. His father was killed during a trade journey, and young Abdur Rahman inherited the family business. He quickly proved to be a natural. He was intelligent, honest, and had a sharp eye for opportunity, earning a reputation as a skilled trader in Mecca. A pivotal moment came during one of his business trips to Yemen. He met an elderly Christian scholar who kept asking him the same strange question: "Has a prophet appeared in your city of Mecca?" Abdur Rahman was confused at first, but on their third meeting, the scholar's words were clear and urgent. The time has come. The final prophet will rise in Mecca. Go back and follow him. Returning to Mecca, Abdur Rahman sought out his friend Abu Bakr, who told him about a man named Muhammad, who was calling people to worship the one God. Without a moment's hesitation, Abdur Rahman went to the Prophet and embraced Islam, becoming one of the first 8 people to accept the new faith. His commitment came at a great cost. As the persecution of Muslims in Mecca intensified, Abdur Rahman was forced to leave everything behind. First, he migrated to Abyssinia, and later he made the historic Hijrah to Medina. He arrived in this new city with literally nothing. The life of comfort and wealth he knew was gone. In Medina, the Prophet paired the immigrants from Mecca, the Muhajirin, with the local helpers, the Ansar, to build a new community. Abdur Rahman was paired with Sa'd ibn Rabi, one of the wealthiest men in Medina. In an act of incredible brotherhood, Sa'd offered Abdur Rahman half of everything he owned, his wealth, his properties, and even offered to divorce one of his wives so Abdur Rahman could marry her. What Abdur Rahman did next defined his character. He politely refused this generous offer. He looked at Sa'd and said just one powerful sentence: "Show me the marketplace." That was it. He didn't want a handout. He wanted an opportunity. And from that single request, a new empire was about to be born. With no money to his name, he started from scratch. He began working on a profit-sharing basis, selling simple goods like butter and dates for other traders. He would take a small commission, and instead of spending it, he reinvested every single dirham. Bit by bit, his capital grew. He saw opportunities everywhere. He noticed that Medina didn't have many sweets, so he started selling them. Then he expanded into horses and saddles, high-demand items for travel and defense. Soon, he was trading perfumes, leather, and textiles. His strategy was simple but brilliant. Unlike many merchants who relied on debt to grow fast, Abdur Rahman avoided it completely. He only traded with the money he had. This meant his growth was steady and methodical, but it was also unstoppable and built on a rock-solid foundation. But his ultimate competitive advantage was his character. At that time, the markets in Medina were often filled with merchants who would cheat on weights, manipulate prices, and mislead customers. Abdur Rahman was different. He was known for his absolute honesty and fair dealing. People trusted him. Soon, customers began flocking to his caravans, choosing to buy from him over anyone else. His reputation for integrity became his most valuable asset. His business grew exponentially. His trade routes expanded across Arabia and into neighboring lands. The sight of his massive caravans arriving in Medina became a regular event, transforming the city's economy and making him its most prominent businessman. When people would ask him, "How did you become so wealthy?" he would give a profound answer: "I never lifted a stone without hoping to find gold or silver beneath it." This wasn't literal, of course. He meant that he never dismissed an opportunity, no matter how small. He paid attention to the world around him, took calculated risks, and combined his sharp intellect with unwavering trust in Allah's provision. Despite his immense fortune, Abdur Rahman's heart remained firmly attached to his faith. He wasn't a businessman who happened to be Muslim. He was a devout Muslim who happened to be a brilliant businessman. He fought in every single battle alongside the Prophet, including Badr, Uhud, and the Trench. At the Battle of Uhud, when the Muslim army was in disarray and the Prophet's life was in danger, Abdur Rahman stood like a shield, suffering more than 20 wounds while defending him. His bravery was legendary. During one expedition, the Prophet himself honored him by tying a commander's turban on his head. His generosity was just as famous as his wealth. For the difficult expedition to Tabuk, the Prophet called for donations to fund the army. Abdur Rahman stepped forward and gave on a scale that left everyone in awe. He donated immense quantities of gold, silver, livestock, and goods. His contribution was so great that it was second only to that of Uthman ibn Affan. The Prophet was so moved by his sacrifice that he gave Abdur Rahman the glad tidings of paradise while he was still alive. Perhaps one of his greatest honors came during that same expedition. The time for prayer arrived, and the Prophet was delayed. Seeing this, the companions chose Abdur Rahman ibn Awf to lead the prayer. As he was leading it, the Prophet arrived and joined the congregation, praying behind him. This was a distinction granted to very few companions, to have the Messenger of Allah pray behind you. Even after the Prophet's passing, Abdur Rahman continued to be a pillar of the community. He used his wealth and wisdom to support the caliphs Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. He took on the personal responsibility of caring for the mothers of the believers, the wives of the Prophet, ensuring they lived in comfort and dignity. And in a powerful statement against social hierarchy, he married his sister to Bilal ibn Rabah, the esteemed companion who was once a slave, proving that in Islam, piety and character are what truly matter, not status or lineage. At the time of his death, his wealth was so vast that after all his debts were paid and legacies fulfilled, the inheritance for each of his 4 wives was over 80,000 gold dinars. That portion alone was a massive fortune. The journey of Abdur Rahman is one of the most powerful stories in our history. From a man who lost everything and arrived in a new city penniless, to becoming one of the richest men the world has ever known. Yet, he never let that wealth corrupt his heart or distract him from his purpose. He used his fortune to serve Islam, to fight for justice, to care for the poor, and ultimately to earn the ultimate prize, paradise. His life teaches us that true success isn't measured by the size of your bank account, but by your integrity, your generosity, and your devotion to God. It's a timeless reminder that with honesty, hard work, and faith, anything is possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I did, please give this video a like, and do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you do not miss our next story. See you in the next one.